The following strange and often terrifying encounters happened, and what's more, they could happen to anyone. Turn the lights down low and hide under your bed sheets because the truth is we're not safe. The real world is far more terrifying than anything we can make up. We moved into a new house a few months ago. As we were in the process of purchasing the house, the renter who was living in it died unexpectedly of natural causes in his mid-40s. He died right in the middle of the living room. Shortly after, we move into the house, and almost immediately our 2-year-old daughter starts talking about the ghost that lives in our house. Now let's be real here, she is 2 and 2-year-olds are very impressionable. Halloween had recently passed, and she had this Halloween-themed picture book that she loved to read, so it's entirely possible that all this talk of ghosts was just coming from looking through that book on a regular basis. Still, she was always telling me that the ghost was in her playhouse in the basement, or that the ghost was on the stairs, or that the ghost was standing in the corner. She never seemed to be afraid of the ghost, and considered him to be her friend, so I wasn't all that concerned even if there really was a ghost haunting her house. If he's a nice and helpful ghost, it could certainly be a lot worse. I would often tell the ghost that he was welcome to stay if he wanted to, but he was also welcome to go if that would make him happier. I was about 30-70 on the ghost being real and she could see and talk to him versus the ghost being just her imagination fueled by her Halloween book, until one day, when we were going out to the car to go to daycare in the morning. It was still dark out and rainy. My daughter told me that the ghost was on the back deck, and then she told me that today was the ghost's birthday and she wanted to sing him happy birthday. Once again, I mostly disregarded what she was saying, as she is birthday obsessed and has in the past made us sing happy birthday to Mickey Mouse, a bowl of fruit snacks, and the bathroom. So we sang and wished the ghost a happy birthday and went on with our lives. Later that day, out of pure curiosity, I looked up the obituary of the man who had died in our house. And wouldn't you know it? It was his fucking birthday. This happened a couple weeks ago and is the most recent creepy moment I can recall. I on and off again babysit this 2-year-old while his parents have a date night. Once before, my friend was babysitting him and he started talking to his grandpa, who his parents say he never met as he had died before the kid was born. So whenever I babysit him, I prepare for something weird like that to happen again. Of course, this night we're in his living room and he points at an empty wall in front of us. Grandpa is all he says. He's 2 and doesn't talk a whole lot, so I didn't ask for an explanation. Instead, I start talking about other things because it's creeping me out. The kid then widens his eyes and grips the chair he's sitting in, chattering his teeth and shaking uncontrollably. Here's me freaking the fuck out, so I grab him and tell him that it's time to watch a movie before bed. Later that night, I'm about to take him upstairs when I noticed the door was unlocked. I locked it and turned the knob, shaking the door to reaffirm that it's locked. I do this without fail to every door I lock. It's a dumb quirk, and then carry him upstairs to bed since he's already half asleep. I'm in his room for about 20 minutes, and when he's finally out, I leave him and go back downstairs. The front door is directly in front of the stairs, and guess what? The door is unlocked. Immediately I think that this is going to be a horror movie and think that it's a smart idea to check around the house. Nothing out of the ordinary. I even go upstairs to check on the kid again. I didn't bother looking in the other bedrooms because I had his door open when we were laying in there and would have seen anyone come up. Anyways, after making sure he's okay, I go back downstairs and watch TV until his parents get home, jumping at every little noise. Freakiest night of my life, and I had to debate for a solid hour when they asked me to watch him again a couple days later. Something found me after a car accident and I don't know what it was. During our drive home from a family trip, our car hit black ice on a curve that set us rolling. That day I didn't wear my seatbelt. I was ejected out the car by breaking through my window using my face as a ram. From my perspective, 1 second I'm in a car, next thing I know I'm laying in some bushes. I try getting up, but I'm stopped by an intense pain in my shoulder, broke my collarbone. Honestly, I don't know if I passed out or just went to sleep, but at this point I lost consciousness. After an unknown amount of time to me, through my closed eyes, I can see a flashlight shine over me. It was 3 a.m. My dad found me, lifted me to my feet with ease, and pushed me towards where the totaled car and my family was. A distinct detail I remember about this moment is how firm the hands were. The unexplainable part. After talking to my brother, I realized something. My dad never actually went looking for me. My mom was badly damaged and no one had no idea what happened to me. They actually assumed the worst and thought I was dead under the car. We didn't even have a flashlight. I don't know who/what found me lying there, but something did. I distinctly remember the light shining over me before firm, strong hands lifted me up like I was paper. Before talking about it, I always just assumed it had been my dad. I post this every now and then, just kinda hoping an answer finds it. My collarbone healed, so it's protruding a bit. It stuck as a permanent reminder of that day. So, there's this old bridge in my town that's supposedly haunted by a young girl who drowned in the river beneath it. Apparently, if you came at the right time, you could hear her scream. When me and my buddies were in high school, we had nothing better to do than go ghost hunting. Being from a town of 6,000 people in good old southern Illinois, half of that being prison inmates and mental health patients, you have to get a bit creative to have any sort of fun. Anyway, we get to this bridge at about 3 a.m. and we sit there for a while. Nothing. About 20 minutes go by and we're all skeptical. Everyone's joking about how dumb this was. We're trying to creep each other out. All of a sudden, screaming. The most blood-curdling, high-pitched screaming you've ever heard. It wasn't just one scream either. It never stopped. It kept going even as we were driving away in our cars. But that's not even the worst part. Me and one of my buddies hightail it back to the cars as soon as we heard the initial scream, because you had to walk a bit downhill to get underneath the bridge. Halfway back, we both go from sprinting to a dead stop at the exact same moment. I never asked him what he saw because I saw it for myself. It was a girl running on all fours into the woods. I don't talk about this much because it gives me chills just thinking about it, and nobody ever takes me seriously. My mother-in-law was a very funny and cool woman. She and my wife were really close, and sadly, she passed away when our son was about 4 months old. Flash forward a few years. We live in an old 1930s era craftsman house in Pasadena, California. Our son is about 3. I was giving him a bath one night and he starts looking over my shoulder, not at random stuff, but at something. A moment passes and he asks me why Grandma calls Mommy a funny name. Long pause. I asked him what he meant, thinking he was talking about him, why Mom. He then says, why does Grandma call Mommy my mother-in-law's nickname for my wife? I was really set back by this. My wife and I never used the nickname, it was just what her mom called her since she was a baby. I asked him where he heard that. His reply, the farmer told me. I asked him who the farmer was and he replied, his friend. I tell my wife this story later and she's of course reduced to tears over the whole nickname thing. We both know there is no way for him to know this and we just kinda marvel at it. Flash forward to the next weekend and my son is playing in his room. My wife is at work, retail, and I'm home. I worked Monday to Friday. I hear him start talking like he's having a conversation. He's saying things like, yes, no, I don't know that, then some laughing. I go into his room and ask him what he's doing, and he says playing. I ask with who? He says the farmer. At this point, I'm already thinking about the fucking Exorcist movie and Captain Howdy. It's a little unsettling. I ask him where the farmer is. He says he left when I came in. The fuck? So my wife gets home and I tell her this, and now she's just as weirded out as I am. We have no idea what to do and figure if it happens again we'll do something. A few days later, in the middle of the night, we both overhear our son saying the following: Grandma says you and I can't be friends anymore. Wife and I go check on him, both of us a little freaked. He's just sitting up in bed. I ask if he's okay and he says yeah, Grandma says I can't play with the farmer anymore. He never once mentioned the farmer again. Not ever. He's 13 now and doesn't remember any of it. We do though.